Good morning, everyone. We just a recap of what we did in the last lecture. So we started with the loss mechanism in optical fibers. So they can be classified as um, attenuation and dispersion. Attenuation is because of your reduction in the power of a signal being transmitted through the optical fiber. Yeah. So the attenuation is the reduction in the optical power of the signal being sent from the source to the destination. Uh, that is because of absorption, scattering, and bending, and dispersion, which results in the broadening of the pulse or results in the changing in the timing of your pulses that you are sending, is because of intramodal, intermodal, and polarization. Attenuation we covered in the last session, where we covered absorption, that is because of intrinsic, that is the material that you are using for the fiber, and extrinsic is because of extrinsic impurities, which could be the metal impurities, and scattering is because of linear and non-linear scattering, which is relay, and linear is relay, and the mice scattering, which is because of non-uniformities in the dimensions, or non-uniformities in the refractive index, or presence of the small air bubbles, all this of the dimensions similar to the wavelength, which results in the scattering of the power which is being carried by your mode. Scattering of the power means whatever mode that is traveling, all the power will get transferred to other modes. Non-linear is when you have the signal powers larger than the threshold power level. So that results in energy transfer to the medium, and the medium starts vibrating and starts interfering with the signal being sent. There are two type of nonlinear scattering. One is stimulated Brillouin scattering, and the other is stimulated Raman scattering. And the last thing that we covered in the last class was bending losses, the micro bends and the macro bends. So we have seen that when the fiber, when you are laying down the link, there are certain places where your net in the network, there are certain turns where there could be the bend in the fiber. If the radius of curvature of this bend is below the critical value, then only it results in attenuation. Otherwise, it does not result in attenuation. That is just because you are not able to maintain the wavefront perpendicular to the direction of transmission, which results in the loss of power. And the micro bends are at the core and the cladding interface. There is any kind of irregularity. Again, in this case, what happens is, at the point of irregularity, there could be the change in the bending of your wave, the signal, and the power gets transferred to the other mode, that we call it as mode coupling. So from today, we will be covering the dispersion, that is intramodal, which is more prominent in the single mode fibers. That is because of material dispersion and the waveguide dispersion. And then intermodal. Intermodal is more prominent in the multimode fibers because of multimodes traveling through the fiber, and polarization mode dispersion, that is because of the fiber that you are using. So that was just what we covered in the last class. We did certain numericals also on attenuation. So on based on this will be today's practical on attenuation. And we also saw this. Yeah, in this, I also showed you that your relay scattering is a major contributor of your losses, along with the material absorption, which actually defines the optical window. We also saw the extrinsic losses because absorption losses because of presence of OH ions results in certain absorption peaks in the window of optical communication, and hence we have defined three windows of optical communication, but there are certain options which gives us uh, windows which are fully low attenuation, where we call it as dry fibers, because the OH ions are not present, and hence we get a low attenuation in the full band from 800 nanometers to 1600 nanometers. So that's a special case, the advanced fibers. Then we saw how the scattering happens, that is the transfer of energy from one mode to multiple modes. That is, if it is linearly, then it is called linear scattering. Non-linearly, it is called non-linear scattering. So this is what, yeah. Then today we will be first solving the problems based on this. Is you have the coefficient, the attenuation coefficient of Rayleigh scattering, and this says that your losses or attenuation is proportional to the fourth power of, inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength. So what is happening is this Rayleigh scattering, although the major contributor, but at lower wavelengths, but at higher wavelengths, the contribution of this Rayleigh scattering is minimized. So that way higher, that is why at higher wavelengths, we are able to achieve the lower attenuation. So right now we'll start with solving the numericals on this. So I hope you have these formulas noted down at some place, because that is what you will be needing right now. In this, just I want to tell you that these P is the elastic constant, the K is the Boltzmann constant, TF is the frictive temperature. So all this will be given to you. Only thing is you need to tell how they are varying with the beta is a compressibility coefficient of the material that we are using. So as I said, no, Rayleigh scattering is the dominant loss in today's fiber. And then we will be solving the next numerical on finding the threshold voltage of, threshold power of Brillouin scattering, and okay, and similarly for the Raman scattering. So all these constants will be given to you. You just need to substitute in the right uh, units to get the values. Okay. Now, how do we minimize the scattering? Is definitely by improving your fabrication process, the guiding process, so that all these losses and non-uniformities in it can be reduced. The bending losses, as I have explained you that day, it's a transfer of the power. No, the power is no more at the near in the core, but it is getting more and more shifted into the cladding and getting lost, because the wavefront is not you are not able to maintain it perpendicular. So what is the difference between a microbend and a macrobend? Is microbend is because of fiber imperfections, and it is the at the network laying down when you are doing it. The microbends can definitely be controlled by having a more controlled fiber fabrication methods, and macrobends can be controlled if the radius of curvature at the bend is larger than the critical radius. And here one more problem which you will be doing is to find out the critical radius, which is a property of a material. It's not that depending upon the link that you are designing. It's dependent on the fiber properties. So that every time you can say that with the data sheet, you can have that. What will be the critical radius of that? Okay, so this is how we did in the last class. Now let's start with the numerical. So silica has an estimated fictive temperature, that is TF is already given to you in Kelvin, and isothermal compressibility, that is beta, is given to be 7 into 10 to power of minus 11. The refractive index and the photoelastic coefficient, that is N1, and the P of your gamma is given. Determine the attenuation in dB per Kelvin due to relay scattering at 1.3, 0.6 and 1 micrometer. Your K is given to you. So first thing is we need to find out your relay scattering. We need to find out our relay scattering parameter. That is what I showed you, the formula. I'll just write it down so that first we will calculate gamma R for all the three cases, and then I will tell you how to calculate the attenuation losses. All what we are doing right now, we will be again repeating it in our practical. Substitute the units properly, then only you will be. Just substitute and now tell me the value of this gamma R. Quickly do it and tell me. That C is not speed of light, it is beta compressibility, isothermal compress. It's in the subscript, right? It's not your C, okay? P is your photoelastic coefficient, beta is your isothermal compressibility, K is the Boltzmann constant, and TF is the fictive temperature, N is the refractive index, lambda is your wavelength. Yes, have you completed? Quickly solve it. Yes. Are you solving? First tell me, yes. So first thing is You need to tell me. I'll just take the name of the people who need to give me the answer. So I want it for all the three wavelengths. That is, gamma R1 corresponds to 1.3, then 0.6, and 1 micrometer. Yeah, Mohit, this is for 1.3. Good. 1.3, the gamma comes out to be 6.61 into 10 to power of minus 29. Yeah, Kirti. Yes, Mohit, you give me for 0.63. Crucial, give me for 1 micrometer. Others be ready. Now one person has to give me the value. Ria, you will give me the value of the loss factor, that is L. That loss factor you have to give for first case, Pinaz for the second case, and Fahim for the third case. And attenuation for the first case, Ridham, second case, Yash, and third case, Praveen. So you need to calculate and give me the answer. Everyone, you will just post. Only these persons will post, and otherwise, when I ask, then only you will post it. Kirti, you need to wait. Don't post the answers. If I ask you, then only your answer. This was supposed to be answered by Mohit. Yes, Crucial, I'm waiting for the answer for gamma R3.
Ma'am, I'm getting the wrong power. I mean, I'm getting 10 to the power minus 4.
10 to power of minus 4, the reason could be, did you substitute the wavelength as micron, 10 to power of minus 6 in the
Yes, ma'am.
denominator? K is in minus 23. So 624 का minus 1 वहीं हो जाता है. Correct? And then you have
Yes.
compressibility constant of minus 11. Huh?
Hmm.
तो minus 11 और minus 1 minus 12 वहां हो गया आपका. The unit of this is per meter. Yes, Pinaz, you can start finding the loss. This L is called as the loss factor, and this A is your attenuation. These are the three formulas that you need to use to determine the attenuation in dB per kilometer. Since it is given the kilometer per kilometer, means automatically your L becomes corresponding to 1 kilometer. So L is 1. and since your gamma is R is in per meter, तो हमको L को 1000 meters लिखना पड़ेगा. Okay?
Ma'am, PR2 I'm getting
क्या बोल रहे हैं?
1.890 into 10. Ma'am, I'm getting 1.890 into 10 raised to minus 5 meter inverse for PR2.
0.63 ये जो आंसर है ना, दिस इज नॉट करेक्ट. दैट इज व्हाई आई एम आस्किंग. ये पावर सही नहीं है. वही तो अभी मैंने तुमको कैलकुलेट करके बताया है.
Yes, ma'am, I'm telling the answer. It is 10
हाँ,
raised
ये
to
माइनस, ये होगा
5.
-3. करेक्ट. कितना आ रहा है तुम्हारा? कितना आ रहा है?
Ma'am,
0.63 है ना सेकेंड केस. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. The third one is 1.888 into 10 raised to minus 4.
1.888 into 10 to power of -4. Correct. That's correct. Yes, Penaz, it's your turn. Are you there? Yes, Penaz. The gammas are already there ना. E to power of minus gamma into 1000 ही तो करना है आपको. L is 1 किलोमीटर. मैंने बोला 1000 है. E to power of some value में क्या wrong आ रहा है तुम्हारा? फाहिम?
Yes, ma'am, I'm present.
हाँ, आपका हो गया?
Ma'am, not yet.
हाँ, अभी तो गामा की वैल्यूज करेक्ट मैंने दे दी हैं. सबने करेक्ट फाइंड आउट कर लिया है. आई वांट दिस. अभी ई टू पावर ऑफ करने में तो टाइम नहीं लगना चाहिए.
Yes, ma'am, 1 second.
रिया? Yeah, L1 is point. Let me check. L1 is 1.3. 1.3. Yeah, correct. 0.936. Perfect. Pinaz, which one are you doing? Okay. फाहिम, थर्ड केस बताओगे आप मेरे को लॉस फैक्टर का.
Ma'am, what is the L value we are supposed to take it for the third case? I'm not getting that.
अरे for all the cases it is 1 kilometer.
It is
what,
same.
of course the answer you want attenuation per kilometer. I said we need to take L as 1 kilometer. Since gamma unit is in per meter, तो हमको L को भी मीटर में कन्वर्ट करना पड़ेगा, which is equivalent to 1000 meter.
1000.
Yes,
1000.
yes,
Okay.
1000 meter. Praveen, you need to start solving. Are you there? Ridham, Praveen and Yash. Attenuation, you need to give me the answer. Are you there, all three of you? L2. How can it be a negative value?
Box, yes.
Box, yes. Box, yes.
Yeah. So it's actually I'm lost. So we were doing gamma, we have already calculated. We are calculating loss factor, that is L. It is equivalent to exponential of minus gamma into the length. The relay factor into the length. Since the attenuation is asked in 1 kilometer, we will take L to be 1 kilometer, which is equivalent to 1000 meters, because the relay factor unit is per meter. So I'll replace my L by 1000 meters because I have to calculate this per. So आपने correct दिया था वैल्यू आई थिंक L1 किसने दिया था 0.936 रिया ने दिया था ना
Yes, ma'am.
yeah now Penaz, your answer was negative. Have you changed it? Yeah, 3.3017. Is it correct? Let me check. Yes, you have to give me the attenuation, not L2, huh?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Calculate. 0.301, correct, Penaz. Who is giving me L3? Who is calculating L3? Priya, Pinaz, and the third one was? Fahim. Fahim दे रहे हो ना आप आंसर L3 का?
Yes, yes.
Attenuation. Give me attenuation ka values corresponding to this L. Attenuation, as I said, it is equivalent to 10 log of 1 by loss factor. Quick, Fahim, I want the answer.
Ma'am, 0.827.
0.8.
827.
ये chat box में गलत लिखा है. Yeah, correct. 0.827 is the correct answer.
All right, ma'am. All right.
Yes, Yash, give me the answer. Praveen, Yash, and who else? Who is the third person? Ridang. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, doing.
Loss. Ridang has given the loss for the first case as 0.287. What is the unit? Can you tell me, Ridang? What is the unit? Correct. dB per not meter. What length did you take? 1000 meters, which is equivalent to 1 kilometer, right? Please change the unit. Yash. Yes, it is. So for the first case, it is 0.287 dB per kilometer. For the second case, how much is the answer? For the second case, it is 5.214. Let me check. Second case corresponds to, yeah, 5.21. Correct. Answer is correct. 5.21 dB per kilometer. Yes, Praveen, I'm waiting for your answer. Third case. Correct, correct. Praveen, this is already done to 5.21. You need to give me for the third case. Point 824. Correct. Okay. Point 824 dB per kilo. Now, what interpretation do you do from these results? Right, regarding relay scattering, can you interpret anything from these results of the numerical that you have solved? Can anyone share? What do you observe from these results? Can you see some pattern? Yes, can you see some pattern? Anyone? What do you observe? High attenuation, low wavelengths. Correct. This corresponds to your 1.3. This corresponds to 0.6. And this corresponds to 1 micrometer. So what do you see? Where is the highest attenuation? It is for the lowest wavelength. And where do you see the lowest attenuation? For the highest wavelength. That is what I told you when I told you about the relay scattering, that this is inversely proportional to the fourth power of the wavelength, and the at higher wavelength, the impact of relay scattering is negligible. Okay, and this corresponds to a medium value which is in between. Okay, this is clear to everyone. Now the second thing that we did not do was a numerical on calculating the threshold power for the stimulated Brillouin scattering and stimulated Raman scattering that you need to calculate. You remember the formula I showed you just now, the threshold potential for the Brillouin scattering. What is the value for it? What is the formula? It is 4.4 into 10 to power of minus 3 d square lambda square into alpha. dB value will be in dBs. And nu is the bandwidth. The unit is in watts. Yes, quickly calculate for stimulated Brillouin scattering. The next person, Vivek, you need to give me the answer. Are you there, Vivek? Vivek, are you there? Yes. Okay. So Vivek, quickly calculate this. And Abhishek, Abhishek Shukla, are you there? You need to calculate the threshold power for the Raman scattering. I'll quickly write down the formula for quick reference. You need to simply substitute the value and tell me the answer. Your D is the core diameter, right? You know, na? D is the core diameter that is given to be 6 meters. Lambda is 1.3 micrometers. Alpha in dB is given as 0.5. And the bandwidth is 600. So the task is very simple. We will quickly do it. And Abhishek, you need to give me for the Raman scattering. The formula is 5.9 into 10 to power of minus 2 d square lambda alpha dB. Watts. Abhishek, are you there? Abhishek Shukla. Abhishek Shukla, are you there? Yes, okay. So quickly, both of you are going to tell me this answer. Others, you can just do and let us see your answers match with what Abhishek and Vivek give us. Yes, Vivek, how much time do you need? सब वैल्यूज तो दिया है, फॉर्मूला आपके सामने है, कैलकुलेटर पे कैलकुलेट करने में कितना टाइम लगता है अभिषेक? Vivek and Abhishek, we are waiting for you. Has anyone else completed? You can just write yes or no. Yeah, Vivek, the answer is correct. 8. No, the answer is wrong. So are you ready with the answer, Bhavik?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I calculated, ma'am.
How much?
For the A, I got 8.8 into 10 raised to minus 6, ma'am.
Micrometers, correct. Okay. So 8.8, na? We can write it as.
Yeah, ma'am. 8.8 into 10 raised to minus 6.
Micrometers, yes. Abhishek Shukla. 7.7. Sorry, Ankit. Ankit, the answer is not correct. 2.74 into 0.996. What is your lambda? Lambda is 1.5. Sorry. Yeah, 1.55 micrometers. Correct? And what is your lambda C? Ankit, what was your lambda C? Let me know what is the value of lambda C.
Hello.
हाँ अंकित बताओ.
Ma'am, I have done for A, not B.
A का तो फिर भी
This is
आंसर रॉन्ग है तुम्हारा. 8 A का तो आंसर.
7.77.
It is 8.8 micrometer. 8.88. It is approximately 9 micrometers. Yeah, anybody else has done lambda C, calculated the value of critical wavelength for the single mode transmission? Has anyone calculated lambda C? Please do it quickly. You have N1. What did the value of N2 did you get? Bhavik? N2 कितना आया?
1.45.
1.4. Correct. 1.45. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
0.45. Correct. Okay. ठीक है. Now tell me quickly. लैम्डा सी का वैल्यू बताइए. Please substitute Ankit and tell me the value of lambda c. I'm waiting for the answer. Niketan, you will find out the value of RCS after lambda c is calculated. Ankit, are you
I
calculating?
think 7.67.
No.
7.67 into 10 to power minus 6.
No. Lambda c आपको N1 दिया है 1.5. 2 delta is 3%. माने 3 by 100. 0.03 माने 0.06 to power 1 by 2. A दिया हुआ है. A is given to be 8 micrometers. So why it's so difficult to calculate this?
मैम वही सब पुट किया मैम जो आप बोल रही हैं सेम टू सेम.
A में 8 डाला. n को 1.5,
8 into 10 to power minus 6.
हाँ वो ठीक है, माइक्रोमीटर में ही है आंसर, तो मत डालो, है ना, मुझे आंसर भी माइक्रोमीटर में ही निकालना है, ठीक है। डेल्टा इज पॉइंट,
N1 का वैल्यू 1.5 डाला,
हाँ, और ये 0.06 टू पावर ऑफ
डेल्टा का 3/100,
2 into 3/100 ना, तो 0.06 टू पावर 1/2,
2 into 3/100.
हाँ,
हम्म,
और नीचे
ठीक है मैम.
डिवाइड बाय 2.405,
यस मैम.
हाँ, ये कितना आ रहा है इसका?
7.6793 into 10 power minus 6.
0.6793 into 10 to power minus 3.
माइनस 6 आएगा ना मैम?
हाँ, -6, 7.67 into minus 10 to power minus 6.
ओके ओके ओके, सॉरी सॉरी, करेक्ट, इसको हाफ कर दो, ये डी है, आई एम सो सॉरी, ये ए लिखा है ना, ये डी है, इसको हाफ कर दो तो कितना आएगा तुम्हारा आंसर?
एक सेकंड. .83.
Still it is wrong, I'm not getting the same answers. Are others getting this same answer?
मैम 6.679 into 10 power minus 6.
वो तो तुम्हारा डबल इसलिए आया होगा ना, क्योंकि वो मैंने डायमीटर लिख दिया था एक को। Anybody else getting the same answer? Kirti, are you getting the same answer? 3.839. Okay, let me check. Maybe I must have done a mistake in my calculation. Anything is wrong, I'll come share it in the session. Okay. अभी ये आ गया है. Now tell me. Now what is our final target? Why we were doing this numerical is to understand that definitely which has got a larger and what will be the value of corresponding to this. What is the critical radius? ये value कितना आता है? Once you substitute it, has anybody? Yes. कितना आ रहा है वैल्यू RCS का? कैलकुलेट किया? Quickly. Yes. Mohit, what is the value that you're getting?
For second case,
Yeah, for the second case, RCS कितना आ रहा है?
ma'am, calculate.
Yeah, please calculate and give the answer. It will be in micrometers. So for the answer that I am getting is 34 millimeters. Okay. So what do we see here is the critical radius for a single mode fiber is much larger than that of a multi-mode fiber. So when we are laying down this network, the network design, we have to be very cautious because larger is the critical value. You have to be very cautious when you are designing your network because any value less than this will be a problem and result in the attenuation of the signal. And this problem is minimal or does not exist, or is actually because we don't never have such a small bends. So we can say that the problem is lesser in a multi-mode fiber as compared to a single mode fiber. All of you can just try these numbers. So this is what I wanted to explain you using these numericals, and these are the formulas which you have to use it today while doing your practical. Okay. So now coming to the next part, that is dispersion. Okay. So as I said, dispersion is a mechanism where there is an optical pulse broadening and hence it results in a digital signal degradation, because when you are sending the pulses, I hope you remember the bandwidth formula is 1/2 tau, correct? Where 2 tau is the pulse width. Now, if the pulse width increases, where does the impact happen? The impact happens on the bandwidth. So if there is a pulse broadening, it will be actually hampering the bandwidth of your system, and you have been using optical communication just because of the advantage of. Now is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Now there are two type of dispersion. One is because of intramodal, as I said, is also called as chromatic dispersion. That is because of material dispersion, where the property of the material changes with the change in the wavelength, and hence as the property changes means the refractive index changes. And once the refractive index changes, the speed changes, the signal transmission speed changes, and hence it results in the delays. Now, what exactly is happening, why our dispersion is happening, as I explained you in the beginning, was you have two signals traveling through it, say packet 1 in one wavelength and the packet 2 in other wavelength. If both are taking a different route, what may happen is they may have a different velocity, and because of this difference in velocity, what may happen, this may reach early and this may reach later when the distance is long. And as the distance increases, you can say that whatever is the pulse that you are transmitting, it may be broadened. That is because one reason is material dispersion, where the refractive index of your material changes with the wavelength traveling through it. And the second is the waveguide dispersion, that is the propagation parameter, the beta. It is also dependent on the wavelength, that is the wave guiding characteristics of a material changes with the change in the wavelength. The second one is intermodal. This happens only, not only, it happens majorly in single mode fibers. This chromatic dispersion happens, but in multimode fiber, it will be chromatic dispersion or intramodal dispersion and intermodal dispersion. This is because when you have multiple modes traveling through it, as I explained, you may have the every mode taking a different path, and hence what will happen is your different path length, as we have proved initially, the signal will be reaching different part of us, information will be reaching the destination at a different time, resulting in pulse broadening. Now, how does this happen here is single mode में कैसे होगा, ऐसा तो है नहीं कि दो wavelength है. This happens because of the spectral width of your source. Although I say I have a laser of a particular frequency, does it happen that it is the only frequency that is being inserted? It will have some spectral width. Means along with the frequency that you are transmitting, there are certain other frequencies which come along with the source, right? That is why it is called intramodal. The mode itself, right? This was the mode, this was the central frequency that was supposed to travel. Now the source itself has multiple wavelengths attached with it, and these wavelengths, because some may be less and larger, so these wavelengths result in the variation in the material and the waveguide. That is why with the single mode also we have dispersion. Multi-mode we all understand, different modes, different path length or paths traveling through a different medium with a different refractive index, resulting in dispersion. The mode propagation dispersion is what happens is one kind of polarization. What will happen is one polarization may have a different change in the fiber, and will result in a different attenuation. Say this may be attenuated or changed by a certain amount. This may be changed by another different amount. So what will happen is this mode will be traveling faster. This mode will be traveling at a different velocity, and hence both reach your destination at a different time. So what has happened? You have a, this is called as polarization dispersion. So this is what is a pulse broadening. These were the pulses. This was the, you can say, the time period of each pulse dedicated to it. This is what happens. Still you can say that right now you could be able to retrieve the information. But as this broadening increases, there is an intersymbol interference which starts, and this may be a case where it is unresolvable and you cannot detect the information. This is what you need to avoid, and this is what will result in loss of information and reduce signal to noise ratio. Now, this is what it shows is you have a refractive index profile, right? This is refractive index and its dependence on the wavelength. So ideally what we want is refractive index should be uniform, right? Irrespective of whatever wavelength is traveling through it. But what is happening is this refractive index profile is dependent on the wavelength, and this results in the dispersion, because the variations in the refractive index, we understand that different velocities with which the information will be traveling. Now, material dispersion is actually non-adjustable. It depends upon the material. So pure silica fiber, you will find that this will have a zero material dispersion point at around 1.28 meters. And with the change, that is a dispersion shifted fibers, what do we find is we are able to shift it to a 1.31, that is total dispersion, waveguide and material dispersion if we combine. Although the material dispersion is 0 at 1.28, this total dispersion point, or ZMD, this is ZMD, zero material dispersion point, and this is the total dispersion which becomes 0, or a zero dispersion point, we call it as ZD. It is around 1.31 micrometer. This again defines why this window is used for signal transmission. So total chromatic dispersion, if we have to find out what will be the chromatic, it is because of material and the waveguide dispersion. Now, what is exactly happening or why this dispersion? As I explained you, you have two modes traveling at a different velocity, similar to two cars traveling on a highway with a different velocity. Both will reach the destination at a different time, and this timing difference will be larger as the distance increases, right? So it is basically related with the phase velocity concept and the group velocity concept which I introduced. So every mode will have a different phase velocity, and when you have bundling and sending a group together, so every group will have a different velocity. Okay, so definitely there are errors. Now this is a comparison of dispersion. As we have already seen, a step index fiber, the dispersion is maximum because of the different path length, as I have explained you earlier, will be reaching the destination at a different time, resulting in the large dispersion of a pulse. How did we overcome this? By using a graded index fiber. Now what happened in graded index fiber? Although the path length was different, but every path had to travel through a medium of different refractive index, and hence what happened was, you, with comparison to a simple step index fiber, the multi-mode graded index fiber had a lesser dispersion. Now if we come to single mode fiber, because there is a single mode traveling, right, all the information is in this mode, you can see clearly that you have minimum dispersion in a single mode fiber compared to a multi-mode fiber. But as I told you that in multimode fiber, it is intermodal, and here it is intramodal. Intramodal, I hope the difference is clear. Intermodal is multiple modes that are traveling result in the dispersion. Intramodal, it is the spectral width of the source. Sources, you will be normally call it as a non-pure source. Source was supposed to give you a wavelength of say 1300 nanometers, but it is giving you say 1310 also, 1290 nanometers. So along with the required wavelength, you have other wavelengths also associated with it, and they try to change the property of a material, which results in an intramodal dispersion. And as we can see, this low dispersion is actually the reason why the single mode fibers have a larger bandwidth as compared to the multimode fibers. So as I have already explained, you may have one wavelength along with that. So this delta lambda, which we call it at, which is the spectral width of your source, is the reason for your intramodal dispersion. Okay. So normally this, why we say that we have to use laser for optical communication, the reason why is actually very clearly shown in this table, which shows that LED have a line width of around 20 nanometers to 100 nanometer. That reduces to 1 to 5 nanometer. That tells you that your dispersions are reduced, the intramodal dispersions are reduced because the line width or the spectral width of your source has reduced. So the smaller is your spectral width, the lesser is the dispersion that we have. So we want a single wavelength when we say a single mode transmission, but that will happen only if the spectral width is less, and therefore a lot of research is going on developing the sources with the minimum spectral width. So these are some of the examples to show you the power associated with your LEDs also. So it shows you that LED, the larger spectral width and very low power compared to lasers, which give you a high power being inserted into a fiber with a very small spectral width. So the spot size, as you can clearly see, it is 100 micrometer. Then vertical cavity, it's a type of an laser, the surface emitting laser, and further it is further reduced and it is able. So single mode, you cannot have an LED, you always have a laser with a very small spectral width. So I have already explained you the difference between a group velocity and a phase velocity. This is just repeated here for your reference, that when I'm talking about multiple modes traveling through a fiber, we always talk in terms of a group velocity, and there that group itself has multiple wavelengths, and they are actually impacting the signal transmission by changing the property of a material. So the different group velocities, this is the reason we derive this. Now the additional thing that we have to derive is that day in our class we derived this. This much we have already done. Okay. Now what you have to find out is what is a pulse broadening, because what is happening is when I say dispersion, what we will be calculating. You'll be calculating by if this was the top for my pulse, how much is the present pulse broadening. That's a measure of dispersion, and that will tell us that how much the signal is broadening over a given distance, and how it will be impacting your pulse, or how it will be impacting your bandwidth or the data rate that you can transmit through it. So for that, we need to first calculate the group delay. So delay is nothing but inverse of the group velocity, and the corresponding pulse broadening is the derivative of group delay with respect to the wavelength into this sigma lambda is nothing but the spectral width of that particular source being used. So I would suggest all of you to just quickly do this derivation and tell me. Are you getting this relation? Then we have certain relations that we have to use when we are proving this dispersion is existing or this is not existing. I hope you remember this relation हमने derive किया है. So I'll quickly revise of what we have done today is we did some numericals on the attenuation and started with the dispersion, and introduction to dispersion is completed, where we found that in single mode fiber, because of the spectral width of your source, you have an intramodal dispersion, also called as chromatic dispersion, because of material and the waveguide. In multimode fiber, both will exist, but the predominant will be an intermodal dispersion, and the second is a propagation dispersion. That is because of polarization. What happens is the signal with a different polarization will have a different velocity, and hence your information reaching the destination will be at a different time, resulting in the broadening of the pulse. In all the three dispersion, the problem is the same. The different part of your information is reaching the destination late, either because of the change in the material property with the change in the wavelength, and the second is different paths that the signal is taking, that results in the change broadening of the pulse. So broadening of the pulse, the major problem is if it exceeds a certain value level, we have intersymbol, because of intersymbol interference, we cannot resolve this, and it deteriorates signal to noise ratio. And we also saw the material, the chromatic dispersion is happening because the refractive index firstly is changing with the change in the wavelength. And we find that the material dispersion is zero at a certain wavelength, but the total chromatic dispersion, which is because of the material and the waveguide, is zero at 1.31. So that's called as a zero dispersion point. Now, why does this dispersion happen? This is because of different velocity, different path length that may happen because either the phase velocities are different or the group velocities are different. And then we saw the comparison where this dispersion will be minimum. It's a single mode step index fiber where this dispersion will be minimum as compared to multi-mode step index or a graded index fiber. And this is just to elaborate on the spectral width. The spectral width corresponds to additional frequencies that are there in the source, or basically the sources are not so pure that it is having certain other frequencies other than the required wavelength. So this is a comparison of where you will have a large spectral width or more dispersion impact that will be in an LED as compared to lasers. And a lot of research is going on to develop the devices with a very small spectral width. So this is just a comparison of the power being inserted into the fiber by the different sources. And this part when we started, I'll just start again from this point because the derivation part is remaining. Okay, so that's it for today.